And good morning from Scotty, Ray, and Candace. Monday.
It is. It feels like a Monday.
It does. As I mentioned, this
does.
is it on February. Come Sunday, that'll be the last day, no leap year this year. And we'll be sitting on March 1st next week.
It's flying by, isn't it, this year?
Our next nasty season is going to be tornado season as spring comes. There are a lot of emergency classes this week where they're going to teach about tornado warnings and things like that. So expect those throughout the week. They always do that last week of February, training.
And we hope that there's not any more power outages and water outages in the future.
Correct.
But if there is, this, maybe we'll be a little more prepared in some areas.
We hope that some folks will buy some generators and have them on standby, that from water supplies to things like that at each site. There's just no way to shuttle around one generator to 4 or 5 sites and keep everybody in water, not for a period like that. And it also taught us from the National Weather Service says that little bitty thing in small writing that power could be lost for a week to 2 weeks with this. We better pay attention to it.
Yeah, take heed of that.
Because it did,
sure.
At that moment when they released that, you think, they're just saying that. It was true.
Well, I think it kind of took everybody off guard, or caught everybody off guard too, when everything started thawing, and that's when the power lines started, getting hit by
made it through that
limbs
first round, and then that second round is what wiped us.
Yeah. So we hope that will not happen again. But
let's keep our fingers crossed on it. Still a lot of people without power, and as we wake up this morning, and let's start with numbers on power, because that is right now the utmost concerning factor in America, or at least here in the South right now, is about power and where we are. Let's go to the state levels and look at this. You still have 17,000 in Texas. They've gotten about 2,000 done this morning in the state of Texas. We go to Mississippi. We're at 19,289. First time we've dropped below 20 in quite some time. As we look at this now, earlier this morning, and it still looks like, let's see here, Neshoba County is still the largest outage in the state right now. Neshoba County still has 3,300 people without power.
Goodness.
Kemper County, we're at 296. Lauderdale down to only 26 people.
That's great.
And I said this before, if you're one of the 26, it's not, that means that they're about yay close to getting you. Yes. They're on the way. Newton County, 600 people left, 603. Jasper, 100% back up. That's great. Also Clark County, Scott County has 72, Leake 88, and we go up to Winston County, 177, and then only 5 remaining in Noxubee County. That is great news. Now let me do this. I got a message just a moment ago from EMEPA. Let me go back. All right. Let's see here. Right here. Crews are working today to get all the remaining broken poles replaced and can begin picking up service. We still have some remote locations with damage, so there's a potential to find additional broken poles as they work today. They also went on to say that they want to thank the spouses and the families of every employee as well. It takes a lot of sacrifice and hard work for them when our crews work such long hours for days on end and end, and that is true.
And you worry about them too. I mean, you around power and all this, the elements and all that. You just worry about them. I would.
And I've seen a lot of posts with the hashtag line wife. That's pretty popular, and it is. These folks have left home. Some of them hadn't been home yet, taking naps just enough to get some clean clothes, maybe, and go back out.
And I mean, and too, the people from out of town who've come from other states.
Yes.
That maybe. Their families might not see them for weeks. I mean, it just really depends. So they can't just run home. You know?
There's a herd of folks still working on this right now for us. Let me hit the update button as we go to, we'll start with the EMEPA and go across. Currently, we have 464 without power right now. That's 464 meters. Let's look at the breakdown of the counties. 243 in Kemper, 176 in Winston, Lauderdale with 25, and then we have 17 in Neshoba and 2 in Noxubee County that are on EMEPA, and they are working hard. And this is, toward the end, is where many times you'll catch that they go to the worst at the last because it was mangled up to get there. So they're working on this. As we go to the radar, this is not radar, this is a coverage map. It looked like a radar. Sorry about that. as we go into this north of Marion, we start seeing things a few around the Bailey area up to Daleville. These are those that we saw left in Lauderdale County. And we go up still around Moscow and DeKalb area there up to Coy and areas east there and south of 21 north of DeKalb there. So it's coming together for EMEP8 on that final 400 now. All right, let's go over and take a look at, this is going to be Southern Pine, and let's look at outages by county, and this number is looking a whole lot better. 32 remaining in Scott County. Newton has 3 without power, and locally that's it. There's just 2s and 1s left there, so they've done a bunch of work there. So congrats to everybody that's on the Southern Pine. As we go to Mississippi Power, they have right now 5 customers without power, and they're working on that right in that area there. So that's good too, down to 5. As we move forward, this is the one that has been the hardest to get the information on. Of course, we're talking Central Electric, mostly in Neshoba County and north of here. Earlier this morning, we didn't get an accurate number. Now we're showing that 4,117 total. And we know that as we looked at the state map that 3,000 of that's going to be in Neshoba County. And you look at this, and boy, it just looks like a bunch of bee stings, doesn't it?
It does.
And that's, yes, all around Philadelphia, east of Philadelphia, south, those areas there.
I mean, is it just, I wonder if people are coming in to help them too.
Yes, they
in the
are.
areas. That's good.
Yesterday we had Jeff Mayo on, the administrator for Neshoba County, and he talked about that, of the different power companies that have come in to help them. They started out with 20,000 outages, so they've got it down to a quarter left to get.
Yeah.
Yesterday the Baptist Association was so great. They went out to 10 different churches scattered across Neshoba County and provided hot meals to those who didn't have a meal. So. Now, I don't know if the Salvation Army, if there's another group going out today, if anyone knows of that feeding folks in those areas, please let us know so we can share that so folks can go get something good to eat.
Right. Because, obviously they can't cook with
Yeah.
power. And a lot of times, too, even if you could cook with gas, look how many people lost stuff in freezers.
Yeah.
We were fortunate that ours stayed cold, but out for days and days on end. You obviously have lost a lot of your stuff, your groceries in your freezer. So, help these people if you can. Do anything you can. And even these food drives, if you know somebody that needs, where people are giving out the food.
And as you were talking about, like cooking at home, when then if you didn't have water, if you cook something, you couldn't clean your dishes up. So it was a boy.
Yeah,
as we look
like a
at
snowball of problems,
and it was rough on everyone. This is the closest thing we've had to Katrina, and that was in 2005 that we've had. This is some devastation. As we look at 4 County, which is primarily around the Macon area, we're down to 2 people there. So they've done a good job of getting theirs back on. But statistically, if you look at it, this area was really hit hard, extremely hard. Neshoba County about being the worst there was. Lauderdale had a bunch, but when you got into that edge of Kemper and Neshoba there, devastating.
Yeah, we didn't get as much of the ice, I guess, and stuff. We had a lot, obviously we did, but they kept getting more and more,
Now, again, if you've got a comment, please post that so we can get that on to other people if you know of anything going on in your community. We say good morning to Donna Peoples, who is watching this morning, and also Miss Joyce Godwin, who is up bright and early today.
Good morning.
Already moving along toward 9 o'clock. How big of a day do you have?
I'm off today, but I'm going to take my little one to the doctor. He's sinusy.
He ailing?
Just sinusy stuff, kind of croupy cough, and so we're going to go get it seen about, just to head it off, so it doesn't get any worse, hopefully. But that's what we're going to do right after this. So.
And who all still thinks it's great to have a pine tree for a shade tree in their yard?
Yeah, we have a big, huge, pine thicket at the end of our driveway, and I've always wanted to get it. And it's not over. Well, there is some power lines on the other side of it, but mostly the limbs just fell in the driveway, and that's what this weekend was, a cleanup weekend, and then they burned the stuff. So I think being around all that smoke, too, had our sinuses kind of stirred all up, but we're slowly getting everything cleaned up.
When I lived in Scuba, my house was surrounded by pine trees. I moved to Meridian, and that house was surrounded by them. When we built our current home, there ain't a pine tree within 20 miles of it. I don't have any trees near the house, and I don't ever want any close to it again.
Well, in the ice storm of '96, we lived in a single wide trailer. I had just had a baby 3 days before it, and there was probably 15 pine trees right around. I mean, just towering over.
I just had this mental image of you looking like Joy from My Name Is Earl, walking around with a baby on a hip.
I'm going to tell you what, that was my first baby. I was a nervous wreck.
Oh, I bet you were.
All those conditions that we have right now were going on then, too, pretty much. I mean, we had no power and no heat. We had to go stay at my in-laws' house. But those pine trees, it scared me because they were popping off everywhere. I know our neighbors across the street, I think it was Sandy White and them that lived across from me. Yes. They had a pine tree to fall on an old Mustang, like an antique Mustang.
Whoops.
I know, and it made me sick, but I'm just glad it didn't hit their house. But, yeah, that was scary. So.
Now, I brought this up this morning. I don't know where it's going, and it doesn't define when the death happened, during the rolling blackouts, or if it just happened while power's out. But a family that is in Texas has already brought forward a lawsuit against the power company. They're suing for, I think, $100 million for the death of their 11-year-old child. What I don't know is if it was when the power company purposely turned off the power or if it was off when they couldn't help it. But they're suing the power company over their child freezing to death. Hypothermia is what has come up out of this. And, of course, they're going to be doing autopsies and stuff for the lawsuit, I'm sure. But the awful, the child, it was a little boy who died in the afternoon under a bunch of blankets trying to keep warm. You know, it was awful.
That's horrible.
You know, I don't see where it's the power company's fault if they couldn't help it. But we all know that Texas, of course, they were trying to, as they push these green things, trying to push the power off of windmills. Well, windmills just don't do the job that normal fuels do. And it caused rolling blackouts. So is that lawsuit material because they turned the power off?
I don't know. I think that would definitely be
right.
turning
Now,
the power off. Would definitely.
The other side, I don't think it's fair to sue the power company because they can't help it if it was because of the trees. But when you go to flicking the power off, because
if it's natural disaster type stuff, I mean, you can't help that.
It would be poor planning in my opinion.
I know I had heard somebody say though about the windmill thing. It was somebody from Texas saying that they should have been more prepared.
Yeah.
You know, for that they should have, you know, had that taken into consideration when they were doing all their planning, that something like that could happen. Because
and you know, let's look at this too. Now, you know, solar panels are wonderful, but y'all think of the weather that we got for a week or 2 weeks. It was
how much
clouds.
sunshine did you have?
Yeah. How would that ever regenerate? And I don't know much about solar, so I'm speaking just from the hip here of what I see.
Well, I'm just thinking about all these electric cars that this new government's wanting everybody to get. How would you have charged it?
Yeah.
I mean, how would you have done it?
It shut the country down.
Right. I mean,
and GM,
you
what
wouldn't
was
be going
it,
anywhere.
35, they're wanting to have all electric cars or something?
That's crazy to me. And just like law enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you want law enforcement to have electric vehicles?
Yeah, what we're going to be on
How
a skate.
How fast can that go, really? You know?
Come on.
I mean, I don't know.
We've America really needs to step back and examine what's going on and go, is this for the betterment of the country? It's okay for all of us to have different thoughts and opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's why we elect people to Congress to represent our thoughts. But have we as a whole elected a bunch that truly doesn't represent the people where they come from? Is it time for America to step up and go, this is not what I want?
They need to be stepping up about a whole lot of issues, I think, and saying this is ridiculous. I mean, you're ruining our country. I mean, something needs to give.
And not everybody agrees with the way we think and the way we do here in the great state of Mississippi. And I'm sure that there are a few here that maybe don't agree with everything that I say. But as a majority, I think most people here are on the same level. You know, we're God-fearing folks.
Right.
We believe in our Second Amendment, and we believe in family being the three most important things, or, you know, pretty close to that.
And I believe in our Constitution, you know, that is not to be wavered. I mean, it's to me, it was put there for a reason. You don't change it to suit you. It's what it says, and you go by it, and you don't change it, and you don't like adjust it. You don't, and that's what they're trying to do now. And I think it's wrong. This country was founded on that. Our Bill of Rights. I mean, and slowly they're doing away with all of that. And it's not up for discussion. I don't believe. I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be. So.
The big thing is we got to keep our country in our prayers, and it starts
do.
on the local level of every time, down to supervisors, mayors, everywhere you go, it starts there, because it's like a little step forward into the progression of the government the further up you go. So,
and speaking of prayers, prayer in school, that needs to go back in school.
I agree with
have
that.
A big issue with not being able to say a morning prayer over the intercom. That is, to me, ridiculous. I think people need to stand up and say, we're not doing that. We're going to do what we think is right. And if one or two parents have a problem with it, then you have the
option to step out.
To have your child step out of the class. I just think that for the majority, most parents would want their kids to have that. That's why, and I'm just going to say, I mean, private schools, they're able to do that.
Correct.
I mean, they have the prayer. They pray, with the kids. They say a blessing before a meal.
But public schools, there's been so many lawsuits by the few on this side that is taking it out.
Yeah.
You constantly see where football coaches are fired or sued because they have prayer with their players before a game or whatnot.
That is so crazy to me. I mean, and I'm going to say this, and this is going to really sound probably off the wall, but
okay, Miss Off the Wall, what do you
have
got
a
to say?
backbone. Stand up for prayer. Put it back in schools. What have you got to lose? Because look at what we got right now. I mean, they're not having, a lot of places are not even having school.
All right, let me ask this, your opinion on this, because, and I don't know that I'm going to ask this right, but I'm going to throw it out there. And I don't know the verse, and y'all may know where it is in the Bible, to where it talks about denying God.
That's right.
When you let things like this and you turn your back and don't say anything, you let this stuff snowball to where God has been thrown out of our courts, out of our schools, and pretty soon he'll be thrown out of our church. Is that denying God?
Yes, it's denying God. It is denying God. And you can't be lukewarm. Like, the Bible, you cannot be lukewarm. You have to, stand up for what you think is right. If you're a Christian, and all of the parents who are Christians and they want to instill these values in their kids, they feel like their hands are tied. And, all these people on school boards, people in government, people who are Christians, and you call yourself a Christian, get a backbone and stand up and put this back in our schools. Because, I mean, we're looking for you, to do this. Because obviously we can't do it ourselves, because if we could, I mean, we would already have been done it, I mean, it's just. And
what we've also learned over this past year, just because a law is passed doesn't mean anything. The Ten Commandments, do you remember all the big thing where you couldn't have the Ten Commandments displayed anywhere?
Right.
We passed a law 5, 6, 7 years ago that said, hey, you cannot take down a statue that is of a war memorial. Well, we saw what happened in the last few months. That's going to progress right on to other things, down to religion or removing it. So, and when you say have some backbone, that's kind of where all that kind of goes together. If you'll remember, one of the things that Trump said when they started taking down statues, he goes, George Washington and others are coming if you let this happen. Well, what are we seeing now? Well,
I mean, look, they're making people stay at home. In other states, they don't even have kids back in school.
That's right.
They don't have people back at work. I mean, they're telling you what to do right now. I mean, so what have you got to lose? Stand up, because I'm gonna tell you what, God is the center.
Oh, he is.
Of everything. And if you deny him and you deny the right to have your kids be in school with prayer, it's not going to be good, folks. I mean, it's not good right now. It's not going to get any better.
And, I don't think a lot of people understand what eternity is. Our lives are very short upon this earth.
Right.
Whether you live to your 10, 12, 50, maybe you make it to 100, that's really a blink of an eye. Yeah. Eternity is forever, and who wants to burn in hell forever? Not me. I'm wanting to see some pearly gates and some streets of gold and claim it.
And I know we probably sound like we're trying to sound like we're perfect.
Oh no,
I ain't the least bit perfect. I'm gonna tell you what, but
I'd tell her sins, but she don't want me to.
But doing all of this stuff, really, I mean, that to me was the beginning of the collapse of this country when they started pulling prayer out of schools.
It is.
They try to shut people up who are trying to have like prayer out, in the communities. A lot of times they don't want you doing that. They don't want. So where's the people who are going to stand up and say, I'm doing it anyway. I'm having prayer in my school anyway. And then I've said that the other day to somebody and they're like, oh, well, they're scared somebody's going to sue them. Let them do it.
But here's the next step of that, is you will see if you speak up, they go after you, your family, and people start getting fired. I mean, you lose your job, and that's where the backbone starts getting weak. But if you do it as a group, it's helpful.
Together.
Yeah,
everybody needs
you
to
got to have unity.
And I know that's easier said than done.
But
there's got to be a step forward somewhere. There's got to be people start taking steps forward to do something to turn things around, because I just feel like, all this pandemic stuff, if you don't think God's in control of that, you need to wake up, because I'm going to tell you, it's not going to end until people start turning their eye towards God. I mean, it's just not.
When you take your old boot heel and you drag it across the sand and you say, it stops here.
Right.
That's what we mean. As we go back to some comments this morning, good morning to Milton Savell watching. Good morning to you also. Hilton and Denise Davis says, good morning from the big city of Carmichael in Clark County. Hope y'all are doing good there.
Yes.
Solar panels are expensive, Leanna Rogers says. I've never bought any, but I can only imagine.
I haven't either, but I've looked some stuff up online, because, I was even thinking about putting a gate up at the end of our property.
Run off solar.
And have it run off of solar. And, even stuff like that's expensive.
I know they never work really good on deer cameras. That's all I can say.
Oh, really?
They work about 3 weeks, and that's it.
Yeah.
And recharging your batteries on that, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
I know that on roofs now that you can have your entire roof made out of a solar panel. I know that's high. I don't know the expense, but it is.
Yeah.
It ain't cheap.
That's what I've seen too. But I'm sure it would save on electric bills and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm sure it would. But
good morning to Mary Harrison, watching from Calico in Neshoba County this morning.
Good morning.
Hope you've got some power there. Hope so. Kay Johnson is watching this morning. How are you? Let's see. Cal White says. That's strong. You go, girl. Good morning to Linda Culpepper. Hope you have a wonderful day, she says. Sharon Brazier says, it's Matthew 10:33. But whoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before the Father which is in heaven. That's the verse that I was talking about, and I didn't know where it was. Thank you so much, Sharon, for looking that up. Matthew 10:33. And I'm going to go back and read that today.
And you've heard this probably throughout your life if you've been in church and stuff, but you have people say God's not going to put more on you than you can handle. But yes, he is. He's going to put more on you than you can handle, because he wants you to bow before him and give it to him to handle.
You got to talk to him. That is for sure. He is the most man. And as I've said before, death doesn't scare me anymore.
Yeah.
Because I do know that there is something better. And it is scary for those that don't know that. It's a peaceful, easy feeling.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody. Get directed in the right place. Carolyn Bowen says that people are too afraid of offending. And there's a lot of truth to that.
And there is a lot of, people are so scared they're going to offend somebody nowadays by saying, this or that. And I don't know. I feel like, to me, you should raise your children to expect to be offended. Because nobody is gonna tell you everything you want to hear. Life is
hard.
Life is hard. I mean, you got to work for what you get most of the time. I mean, you do.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a free ride, all the time, and everybody's not going to be sweet to you, and you just got to be able to take life. I don't know.
And Milton brought up a good point about politicians, of how in Mississippi it was never brought before the people to vote on the flag. It was just kind of shoved down your throat. And a good point on that.
Yeah.
Linda Jane says, y'all are so right. I appreciate that. Kay Johnson says, no power, but we are warm, and we have a little water. Praise the Lord. That is good.
That is.
Miss Gail checking in from downtown Porterville, Mississippi there. Home of the used to be Chicken Shack.
Yeah, we missed the Chicken Shack.
Yeah,
I would drive all the way to the Chicken Shack right now and get me some chicken.
I don't know why
today if they still had it.
She needs to make some tater logs and share with the world. Tater logs are the greatest. I can make a meal just off of tater logs.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have made a meal in college from tater logs.
It got so bad one time in college. Me and Jimmy Thomas had potato chip sandwiches. That's all we had. But hey, we made it through college.
Yeah. Do what you got to do.
Let's see. News stories that are shaping up going across the land this morning. Let's see. I think this is a horrible idea, because before I show the headline on this, America is struggling, especially Mississippi. You take somebody who makes minimum wage, it's hard to get by, and then you go ahead and take a little bit more of their money. And this is the story that we're looking at here. This comes from WTVA. They're wanting to let Mississippi voters decide on whether or not they increase the gas tax. Now, if they increase the gas tax, that automatically comes out of your paycheck, because you think of your car. So many times the lawmakers don't think on all of this stuff. I mean, that's a deduction in your pay immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's already gone up a good bit. Because,
going more.
It took, let's see, when I first got my vehicle, it's like a bigger vehicle.
SUV.
It's an SUV. It took like $42 to fill it up. It's at $55 now.
I remember.
So it's just gradually gonna,
I've got an F-150 that's got that bigger gas tank. When it was at its height, that last when Obama was in there, $120 to fill it up when it got to that high point, when we were at $3 and $4. If you remember Ronnie Dunn's song, they had gas is getting high and going up. But we can't handle that.
I know.
Our paychecks don't support that here. And it's that way across the nation. That's a direct deduction from because you got to get to work, you got to go places. So hopefully lawmakers will not do this. We're hoping. Yesterday, we heard about this, of the airplane that took off from Denver. Can you imagine being on board this and looking out your window and seeing this?
See, this is why I don't like flying. Stuff like this is why I don't like flying, because I'd be the one on the window with the duct tape looking out at my engine on fire.
You would definitely think this is it. We're not going to make it.
I'd be saying my prayers and my last phone calls if I could make them and all that. It would scare me to death. But
here's a picture from the ground. Look at that, looking up and seeing that smoke.
Yeah, and pieces of this plane hit homes.
Let's go down here and look at this. There's the plane there. That landed in somebody's front yard, and that's the ring around the jet engine. That would have killed you graveyard dead. As we go through this, there's another picture that went through a home. Look at the football field, the soccer field, excuse me, there. There's a piece of it falling there. I don't know if you caught it in the background there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And a miracle, no one was killed by all of that.
That is a miracle. I watched an interview with somebody who was
let's pull this up.
In the town where these pieces and stuff were falling. I think they said that they weren't able to get in touch with anybody until like 30 minutes after or something.
Whoa.
All this stuff started falling.
I mean, look at that outside of your airplane window.
It's amazing. I mean, the plane landed though, right?
Yeah, it landed.
It's just amazing that it was able to land.
The pilot done an excellent job of landing and getting everybody to safety. But that is a humdinger of a way to spend your afternoon.
Yes, that's scary.
So, again, we're thankful for everybody there that made it through that fiasco. And that is a fiasco. There ain't no other word to put it there.
I definitely wouldn't fly after that if I was on that plane. That'd be my last flight.
Go ahead and get you a rental car and go on to where you were headed.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all have seen this yet. This is this is what goes on behind your back a lot of times that you don't know what's going on. The school board in California, have y'all heard of this? They were mocking parents when they thought they were off camera, but they were on. Every one of them was making fun of the parents during their live thing, and it got broadcast. So this morning, well, they've all resigned.
What does it say? Claiming video mocking parents and claiming they want only
schools reopened so they can smoke pot. So they were saying that the parents wanted the kids to go back so they could go smoke pot.
Okay.
Is the way I take that headline. But as you go down through here and look at the pictures, they just a shame. But all of them now, they're gone. They're out of there. So, and America's got to understand the more that we use this because of the pandemic, anything you say can and will be used against you.
Yeah.
Better make sure it's off.
Right.
Anybody can make the mistake. You know, I saw a young lady not long ago who had gone to bed. This was a local thing. And somehow or another, she had accidentally bumped the live on her cell phone. And so we went live straight from her bedroom while she was trying to go to sleep, and it was broadcasting it to everybody.
Oh, Lord.
And everybody was going, hey, hey. And then they tried calling her. Her phone was on silent, and she didn't know people were calling her to tell her that she was live. Embarrassing.
Yeah, and you can also, as you know, I posted my grocery list by accident. I mean, you just got to be careful with the cell phones. So
They're cantankerous.
right.
You know, they'll do everything. Now, you know, this has been a long time. I say, I don't think the man done anything wrong to begin with. I have gone back and watched the episode, but now they're turning their attention to going after David Letterman. You
I mean,
know,
he's not even on anymore, or is he?
no, this was 2013. Jennifer Aniston was on there, and he was what they're saying creepy. He went over and hugged her or something, but they are going after him big time over this. You know, I'd have to go back and watch the episode to actually make a comment as to what he done, if it was wrong or right. But it is 2013. Let sleeping dogs lie.
I mean, yeah.
That's just a quick opinion on all that.
I mean, it's just like, what do these people do for? I mean, do they just go through stuff from the past to find things? I mean, is that what they do for a living?
There's a bunch of them out
or
there that do that.
Or they just sit out there and, I mean, get a life.
People pay them to dig up stuff to keep this in the news.
Because y'all pay me, I could dig up some dirt on somebody. Like I could dig up some dirt on some of these government officials.
A few of them need it there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Good morning. I do hope your day is going well for you. And as your day is starting, you've had your coffee there. Again, we keep in mind all those who still don't have power yet. We're thinking of you. Let's take a minute and talk about Tiffany. We hadn't talked about her this morning. Tiffany Blue.
Yeah, she has I can't even talk this morning.
Her decor
Sorry,
boutique.
Tiffany. But yeah, in the Atrium Mall, Tiffany Blue Boutique is located on 493 in Meridian. It's in North Hills. And also the Rustic Couture at Archusa Avenue in Quitman. But Tiffany has all kind of original artwork. She has artwork like modern artwork, farmhouse style furniture and decor, lamps. She has all kind of cute little pillows.
I wish she was sitting in front of me right now so I could ask her about this coffee table. Is that the coffee table that you lay down on? Because it looks cushiony.
You probably put your feet up on there.
Yeah. But that's one of the different styles that they have there to offer, along with all those pillows and stuff too. As we keep going here, she's got a little bit of everything for you.
Really, she does. It's all kind of like seasonal things. She's got a lot of Easter stuff in there right now if you want to go look. These boho pillows, I think that's what they're called.
Correct.
Cute little rabbits and all. Like I said, she mixes the farmhouse with modern, and it just gives it a real homey feel in there.
A few of the things that you can see there from all the towels and things that you can hang. And you get ready for Easter because Easter is a-coming. That's our next big holiday.
Right. But gifts, I mean, if you need a gift for somebody, if you need a gift for your wife or your girlfriend, you need to go visit Tiffany Blue Boutique because I'm sure she's got what you're looking for. Absolutely.
Go see her. She'll help you in so many ways. Well, as we start looking at headlines and things that go on across the nation, let's see what went on today. Because I'm curious because I have forgotten what happened today. Oh, one of our big leaders, that would have been George Washington. He was born on this day in 1732, one of 6 kids. He done okay. I don't know what the other kids done. You know, you never hear a whole lot about George's other than him and Martha. I don't know what the rest of his family did. I'd have to look into it. We learned this if you watched the movie I Walk the Line, where
Mm-hmm.
Johnny just went ahead and asked her right there on stage, will you marry me, June?
I saw that.
And, of course, she ended up saying she would. 1968, that's been 54 years ago.
She must have really loved him, is all I got to say. 'Cause,
She had a
I mean, he
thing.
had a lot going on with
Yes,
him that she
some
put up
issues,
with.
is that what you're saying?
He did. He had a lot of issues. And she thought, I guess, I love him anyway.
You
Just
know,
married him.
a lot of people don't understand that Johnny was rooming with Waylon at the time. You know, they were roommates. And anyway, the rest is history, so to speak. It was Steve Irwin. He was born on this day also. He passed away in 2006 at the age of 44. It was so shocking.
That was. I just could not believe when that happened. That was awful.
And of course, his daughter is pregnant, getting ready to have a baby.
And to me, both of those kids look just like him. To
They
me.
do.
Yeah.
They got their big zoo, is what it is.
Yeah. But I used to love watching him, you know, and the kids watched him when they were little. And I always thought he was real entertaining.
Yeah,
Seemed
he
like a really great guy. It's just
Stuck
sad
his
they-
hand too close to some animals that I would have.
Well, it was but the stingray
Yeah.
thing, I think it got him right in the heart. I
It
think
was.
That's what it was. It's sad.
1971. Can y'all believe it was? And I've tried to get Candace to go ahead and break out and do a cappella to this, but "Help Me Make It Through the Night" was the number one song on this. And interesting enough, Chris Christopherson wrote this song.
I used to like Chris Christopherson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chris was it.
I always thought he was a good-looking guy back.
A lot of women
years
thought
ago.
that.
Yeah.
He went on to become, he was kind of like the poster child for country music, and then became a movie star out of all of that. Women liked him. So, was he better, Robert Redford or him?
I think both of those were really nice-looking guys. So, yeah. But anyway.
1976, it was Waylon that was number one on this date with "She's a Good-Hearted Woman, in Love with a Good Timing Man." Y'all remember that one? I do.
I
Yeah.
do too. Yeah.
1977,
Yeah.
Hotel California.
Now I love the Eagles. I had their CD, and this is the odd song. Though.
What was it really trying to say? You can check in, but you can never leave. Was that saying being addicted to maybe drugs?
I don't know. I have tried to figure that song out many times when I've listened to it. It sounds kind of almost like evil,
Yeah, I
like
know.
demonic, almost like it's. I don't know.
So
It's
if you know the
odd.
true story to Hotel California, I'd love to know what the song really meant.
I mean, it is. It's weird.
It
to
is.
me. So yeah, if you know, let me know. 'cause,
They stab
I've
it with
listened-
their stealing knives, but they just can't kill the beast.
To me, it reminds me of like Charles Manson.
It may
I don't
be.
know. I mean, just something to do with stuff like that. It's odd. But
2014, El Chapo was captured in Mexico. A few months
remember
later,
that.
I think he tried to dig his way out. He's still there, to my knowledge. Let's see here. It was 2016 that Sonny James passed away, and the only song that you're going to remember from him would be "Young Love." That was huge for him. He was 87 when he passed away. And let's see
I
here.
used to like all that old music too. I had an old CD and it had that song on it, and
Right.
a bunch of other ones. But
We mentioned this a few weeks ago that downtown Meridian, they were painting a mural. Is that the way you say
Right.
that? At Dumont Plaza. And I assumed that it was going to be several artists from either Meridian or Mississippi, but they've unveiled it now. And it has only the Temptations on it. David Ruffin, of course, who was from Meridian. I just truly expected Mo Bandy, maybe Paul Davis, maybe Jimmy Rogers included on that. I thought there would be more there. Kind of like the wall in Nashville there at Legends, to where it focuses on all of the big artists.
maybe what would be a good idea. I don't know if they intend on doing it, but to extend that wall all the way around the plaza and
Maybe
do
so.
like a portion of a wall for each person
Well-
who is from the town. Because like Paul Davis, that was my uncle. you know,
Paul was big.
Yeah, it was.
But there's the little gazebo thing there, the wall behind it. That would be a great wall to put an
It
entire.
really would. Yeah.
So we'll see, but it's nice to have that. But I
Yeah.
truly thought there would be more people on it than just one.
Yeah, I did too.
So
But
maybe-
unless maybe they are intending on, because I think everybody needs to be recognized.
Yeah, we've had some
think it would be
greats from here.
Yeah, I think it would be great to have everybody recognized.
So that's what's going on with the wall there in downtown Meridian at Dumont Plaza. Tonight, you can also still take advantage of this if you want to sign up for West Lauderdale baseball and the Youth Association. They're going to be taking applications tonight. They're live.
Because you could be like me and realize yesterday that
Whoops.
yesterday was actually the deadline on the form. And so I ran and did it last minute. But yeah, go tonight. You said it's going to be where tonight?
Let's see. I would assume where they play at. I'm looking at the form here to see where it's listed.
Okay.
Ken text me where that's going to be, where you can do that. I assume at the ball field.
Okay.
That's an assumption there.
Okay.
But if you know for sure, let me know. I should have known that before we went on, shouldn't I?
Well,
Shame on me.
Well, I mean, like I said, and they might extend it. I don't know if it might be extended past tonight. I'm not sure. But I know tonight, if you want to sign up your little one for baseball or softball for West Lauderdale Youth Association, going to the on-site registration at the field, I think, maybe. I don't know. But if it's different, we will post this on here.
Yeah, we'll get it out there different.
So we'll have it posted for you.
This Wednesday, don't forget, it's going to be another food giveaway at the Lauderdale County Agri Center, brought to you by the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department and the City of Meridian. That will begin at 11 a.m. and it'll last till 2 unless they run out of food beforehand. Mm-hmm. It goes until, I think, up till 2 o'clock. So if you can make it out, make sure to come out. They do a great job with that every time they've done that. Last week was canceled due to the road conditions were just too bad.
And like we said the other day, it starts at 11. You might want to get there before that to line up because,
right.
Once it's gone, I guess,
Correct.
So.
Early bird gets the worm, as it used to say. Donald Trump this is going to be his first big speech since he has went into civilian life. He's going to be at CPAC this weekend in Florida. Interesting enough, Mike Pence has turned down the invitation to go speak. A lot speculate that he's still kind of sore at Trump over him calling him out. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But I'm sure the president will have a lot to say. I'm glad that he's there.
Yeah.
Tragic news in Louisiana this weekend. Have y'all seen this story? As we're trying to get power back on, this guy walks into a gun shop. They have a range in the back where you can go shoot. Uh-huh. And the store clerk at the front goes, hey, you can't walk in with your gun already loaded. Unload it before you go back there. Mm-hmm. They get in an argument, and he shoots and kills the guy behind the cash register with 2 other people that were there to shoot him. It was a big shootout. 3 ended up being dead, the gunman Lord. Being one of them. Just horrible experience. It sounds like some form of mental illness or something was not right. Details will come out over the next few days, so expect more. Mm-hmm. Well, thankfully, we were all at home when this storm hit, but you think about the folks that drive for a living. Your guys that drive 18-wheelers, they're out and about, your delivery, your Amazon workers. There was a lady in Texas that was trying to deliver food, and at the last minute, she wrecks her car in front of somebody's house. She thought she had enough time to get home. Mm-hmm. She didn't. She ended up having to stay 5 days with a couple that she wrecked in front of her house. They took her in, fed her, and kept her warm.
That's sweet of them, but don't you know that was odd for her?
Oh, it had to be.
Yeah, that would be odd.
So at a stranger's house for 5 days. Mm-hmm. Woo! Let's see here. Joe has declared Texas a disaster area. Mississippi has not been added to that list. And what that means when you get declared a disaster, you're available for more money from county and cities to do more for the citizens of there. To my knowledge, Mississippi has not been. I think they've applied for it, but we have not gotten that yet. But definitely Texas has gotten those dollars that are much needed right now. Because
their shelves are empty in grocery stores. And, I've saw it's sad for parents. I mean, but it's a good thing when they have these, people feeding the communities and stuff. They have people, cooking chili and feeding the workers and feeding there was a woman who said that she's never had to do that just to come get food for her child because they didn't have any, So it's a good thing that they're doing that for people. But.
This next news story, there's a name for this that I won't say out loud here that we probably refer to people that do stuff like this, but a grandmother / mom runs off with her daughter's boyfriend, and the daughter had just had a child by the boyfriend, and she moved in with old mom there, and mom decided she liked the boyfriend, so she ran off with him. Yeah, she's 44 and he's about 20.
Craziness. Crazy.
Yeah, I said, there's a name for that I'm not going to call it out loud here. Y'all just use your imagination.
That's a good grandma right there now, let me tell you. That's a good dedicated grandma.
Oh, boy. Oh. As we go to our next news story, sad news comes for a California mom as she is found dead. She went missing a few months ago. Back in June, they didn't find her. And she went out hiking when the pandemic happened. Her body was discovered by other hikers this week on the 31st. So definitely they've done the testing. It's her remains.
Goodness.
They don't know at this point if it was foul play or not. They'll do investigation into it to determine what happened.
She went hiking on her own.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are thinking.
Don't
when
do
they
that.
I ain't even walking those trails at Bonita on my own.
I hear you.
I'm not. I was with somebody walking one time, and I was a nervous wreck. So
Always let
forget it.
somebody know where you are.
You see me, I'm running on the trails back there. Something's after me.
You know, I've drove around it, but I've never gotten out and walked anything.
It's creepy to me. I don't know. A lot of people do it, but I just am not.
That's not your cup of tea.
It ain't my cup of tea. No. Okay.
As we look at our next story, and who knows what's going to happen. He originally said he's not, but there's always that chance. Nearly half of Republicans said that they would follow Trump to a new political party if he were to stop one. Which, you know, it was rumored, what was that, the Patriot Party that was rumored? But about 46% of them say, yep, I'd go with you if you do that.
And I think a lot of people would, but I've
when you
heard
got
that-
elected,
That's right. I mean, how do you?
you would have
That's
everybody
confusing.
against you.
Yeah, it's confusing to me because it just confuses.
He would have to have others leave the Republican Party and go to that party that are already holding office to get anything done. But,
Right.
you know, things do change. It is America to where there could become, you know, the third party is usually, if you run as that for president, you're going to lose.
Right.
Like
That's
Ross
what you've
Perot,
always heard.
because it splits the vote.
But, you know, this is a different situation.
Yeah, he's
so,
stronger than all of them.
I mean, it is a different situation for sure. So,
And we need to get us a ticker up for November of 24 of how many days is till the next election.
well, that would be a good poll to me. If that goes down, would you decide to change or not? Like,
Yeah, we'll throw that out there.
yeah.
Huh,
I don't know.
interesting there.
Because I would have to see what kind of like damage it would do. Now, I mean, I would just have to see how that would work out.
There's a lot to think on. I'm sure he's behind the scenes calculating now, but the big thing is after elected, when you go to pass something, you would be hit with, so to speak, yellow jackets because
To me, not so much about party lines as like, you know, Democrat, Republican, or Patriot or whatever. They need to correct the system of the voting stuff. I mean, that's what needs to be corrected.
yeah, they have the mail-in ballots. Each state
Yeah.
needs to get on that and work that out of what's acceptable and what's not.
That's
And
right.
I really think that nationwide, each state shouldn't be different. That they ought to set up guidelines for voting, especially on national level. This is the way it's done. Everybody has to comply to this.
Well, to me, I mean, mail-ins should be for, or what, you know, they should be
Absentee.
for people. Yeah, absentee, like people who are overseas with the military,
Working
or
out of
people who
town.
are handicapped and can't leave their homes. You know, if there's some kind of way that, you know, they could put an absentee vote in. I don't know. So that's what I believe. I mean, I don't think mail-in should be allowed. I mean, I just don't. And you shouldn't allow it in some states and not in others. And, you know, because I think the governor in Florida, they put some kind of a law or something in effect the other day. They were introducing maybe a bill or something. That governor,
Dishonest?
yeah, dishonest. I was trying to think of his
It's kind of
name.
like
I was saying
Dasani
it
water, but you
wrong.
say it real quick.
But it was something to do with mail-in ballots. I don't know if they were saying they wouldn't be allowed unless,
I heard something of that.
yeah, unless it was specific, maybe just like absentee. I don't know.
We'll dig into it.
But
get an answer for
I know
all
a
that.
lot of people were saying when it was the video of him doing this press conference, announcing all this stuff, there was a lot of people saying they wanted him to run for president. So I don't know.
It's going to be a battle come 24.
It is.
Our next story is, well, another teacher is caught. This one coming from Ohio. She pled guilty for whooping with a minor at her home. I'll leave that alone. I won't.
Well, I'm gonna say as a parent,
What was he doing in
jail
her
would
house?
be her worst. That'd be the least of her worst. If it was my child that got involved like that with somebody, I mean, that would just be. It's crazy to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Move on.
out there.
Move on.
That's Ohio.
Crazy.
18 episodes, folks, of the Muppets now have a disclaimer. It starts with Johnny Cash, and I'd have to go back and watch the episode with Johnny, but Johnny didn't mean any harm. I don't know what the fuss is, but the reason they put the one on Johnny is there was a Confederate flag in the background. And, of course, that's the battle flag with the United States flag. I'm not sure what Johnny sang there. It could have been a ragged old flag that he sang there. Who knows? But it has been banned that it's offensive.
I mean, it might not have been anything that he sang to do with the song.
It may not have been.
It could have just been, I mean, because a lot of people, would display both flags.
Yeah.
For just
back in the day.
Like, yeah. Same.
So we'll see where that goes. As we go back to a few more comments. Good morning to Janie Gregg this morning. Hope you're doing good. Also, how did we ever vote presidents in before this nonsense happened this last year? There wasn't as many. Well, it was just different up until this last year with this pandemic.
I don't know that they do mail-ins and all that mess, and it was like a lot of ballot harvesting, they called it, where people got out and just.
Well, they allowed so many because of the pandemic of not getting out, and they didn't want people at the polls, so they allowed them to vote from home.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was a big.
To where, in most elections, if depending upon the weather is who turns out to vote. If it rains in a city, there's not going to be a big turnout ever. People would rather just stay home than get wet. If it's cold, they stay home. So that's where it is. We'll see what happens. And Damon said it was about the flag. It was just about the flag, the song. I'll have to go back and look at that today.
Well, this next voting, like in 2024, we're going to pray for sunshine and no
22
sickness.
Will be the one.
Well, 22 is when
where the House and all will go back up for grabs.
But I'm talking about for like president.
Yeah, 24.
We're going to pray for sunshine and no sickness.
Yeah, we don't want any more of this.
Yeah.
So that's where things lie this morning. And again, thank you for dropping by, spending some time with us. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news and coverage. And all throughout today, I'll have the very latest when things break, with information of what's going on in the communities as we restore power and move forward to being normal once again.
That's right.
So,
and we hope you have a wonderful, blessed day and stay safe.
All right. Thank y'all. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Scotty Ray's Weather is brought to you by